Most millionaire real estate agents started with the goal of 100 grand. If you're watching this, you might have that same goal too. What's up, everybody? It's EBP here, coming at you with another video. I wanted to talk today about income. Now, it's really important to understand this as a real estate agent that, for me, the first 100 grand I put in my bank account was by far the most meaningful. I think that's any entrepreneur in their journey. When you make that first kind of six-figure number, it is more meaningful probably than any other number you make, just because you kind of start from zero and you make your way to a relatively comfortable place. Now, the thing is, why a lot of people actually get stuck at that income level, which I see a lot of people do. Now, we're working with a lot of agents who are going from 6 to 7 figures, and I'm seeing, the difference that's happening in these agents that are able to kind of scale past 6 figures. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. So the fundamental misconception that you need to understand when you're talking about money is that the first 100,000 is the most difficult. And the reason is you have to wear all of the hats in your business. You literally have to do everything because you can't afford to pay someone to do anything. So you are literally grinding away, learning new skills, leveling up yourself, doing every little part of the business, marketing, sales, admin, you name it. And that's just the reality for most people for the first 100 grand you're gonna make, but you have to embrace that because that's where you're gonna actually wear all of the hats so that later you can start taking off one hat at a time. And trust me, I don't have any hair, I know a little thing about hats. So anyways, the fundamental misconception that I wanna get to that it's really important to understand is you cannot, if you think about this in a linear fashion, it's not going to work. Because what you did to go from 0 to 100K is not going to get you from 100K to $1 million, okay? It's just not. You have to start thinking differently if you want to get from 100K to $1 million. And this is the fundamental shift that I see a lot of agents go through when they're working with us in our group, and we're able to help them kind of go from 100,000 to 300,000-400,000, or maybe from 300,000-400,000 to $1 million, is you have to start thinking a lot differently, because what you did to go from 0 to 100K is you traded time for money. You did everything, you traded all your time for that money, and you were the only person generally involved in that process. Now, you can't just 10x that to get to $1 million. You can't just 10x your time and all of a sudden make $1 million. That's just not how it works. You have to think differently. You have to have a fundamental shift. And that shift is the big L word, leverage. Now, when we're talking about leverage, for anyone that's new to business entrepreneurship, when we're talking about leverage, you're talking about when you make 100,000, you make enough money, you can then start to afford to buy back your time. Now, you can do this as a real estate agent in the way of like hiring an assistant. Maybe you hire an inside sales agent to qualify your leads. Maybe you bring on a team member to take on some of your buyer business. But the big mistake a lot of people make when they do that is they don't replace the activities that they actually hire out with higher value activities. So if you're at the place now where you're getting close to 100,000, you're starting to think about this stuff, and you want to start thinking, how am I going to take that quantum leap to go up to several 100,000 / $1 million? You have to start thinking about these things now. And that's what I wanted to really kind of break down in this video. You have to understand you cannot just 10x what you did from 0 to 100 to get from 100 to $1 million. So that's number one. And you have to think about different time vehicles, okay? So there's a number of different time vehicles you can use, mainly those being technology and people. Now, that's something we're really big on is, a lot of people think like, oh, I want to scale my business by posting on social media every day. Well, that's fine in some capacity, but you can't just 10x your posting to get to $1 million. You can't just 10x your social media efforts to get to $1 million, because in order to do that, you'd have to create a really robotic, automated structure where you'd have someone else doing it for you, and it's not going to come off as genuine, and authenticity sells on social media, for example. Now, so that's not a really effective vehicle to take yourself from 6 figures to 7 figures, is just focusing on necessarily social media, because again, you're thinking of it and I'm just trying to 10x what got me from 0 to 100 to take me from 100 to $1 million. So you have to think in different time vehicles. Namely, you have to think in people is going to be one of your most important things. So how much of your time is spent on administrative work when you got from 0 to 100? Well, when you got to 100,000 in real estate, you're probably doing a pretty significant amount of administrative work. Depending on your market, how much your average commission is, 100,000 can mean, if you're in Toronto, can mean like 3-4 deals. So this is contextual. But if your average commission is 10K, 100,000 is 10 deals. With 10 deals, you're probably doing a little bit of admin work. It's probably taking up a lot of your time. Is that the highest return on your time, is to do your administrative work, like uploading photos, uploading properties to MLS, coalescing with your real estate clients on little issues? No, it's not. Now, how you can replace that time is by hiring an assistant, and they can actually take over a lot of your administrative tasks. But if you do that, you have to replace it with a higher value item. Now, generally as a real estate agent, your highest value, your highest return on time action is taking appointments. So the ideal goal you want to get to is, how do I set myself up so that I'm in a position where I can just take as many appointments as possible? Well, in order to do that, you have to have a really solid lead generation structure. Now, again, going back to social media, how are you generating your leads? Are you generating leads from posting on social media and like doing this manual stuff all the time? Or are you doing it in a way that's more or less automated? Now, there's great ways that we talk about all the time to get automated lead generation going. My favorite is Google Ads, because once you set it up and optimize it, it's mostly working on autopilot. Same with YouTube. If you're creating good YouTube content, those will actually work for you for years, and that becomes automated. YouTube's not as consistent as paid advertising, of course, but you have to create these technology vehicles that will allow you to get a flow of consistent, predictable leads, and eventually you're not going to have time to work those leads anymore. You're not going to have time to make all those points of contact. Now, this goes for any type of advertising you do. If you're spending a lot of money on advertising, eventually your leads compound, right? 100 leads in month 1 is 200 leads in month 2 is 300 leads in month 3. All of a sudden you have 300 leads. That's a lot to work. In a year, that's 1,200 leads. Now, I recommend if you get an online lead gen, you spend minimum $2,000 a month. It's just, I've done the math on this. You can get your return back so much faster, and it's going to be an astronomical difference. A lot of people get in, they start spending really, really low amounts of money, and that's just delaying your success. It really is. So you have to be willing to spend if you're going to get into online lead generation. Now, anyways, I digress. Back to the main point, which is time vehicles. You want to invest in leveraging automations and automated lead generation and people to take care of your low per hour value tasks, so that you can basically have an influx of leads. Ideally, you have an inside sales agent who's qualifying those leads and sending you qualified appointments / live transfers. That's something we've recently introduced into our agency. And so that's really the end goal, is you want to put yourself in a position, in a time vehicle, where you can have your admin, your lead qualification, and as much else as you possibly can taken care of by other people, so that you can focus on giving your clients not only the best experience, but also managing more clients. Because you don't want to be drowning in admin work or dealing with colder leads, top of funnel leads, when you have listing appointments to go on, and you have properties to sell, and you have negotiations to enter into, and you have clients to take care of. That's where your most value is as an agent. And going back to what I said about spending $2,000 a month, if anyone comes into my program on Google Ads, I generally recommend at least $1,000, but $2,000 ideally. You're just going to get to the point of return so much quicker. And then that compounds over years with all those leads. And it's actually astronomical if you do the math on how much quicker you're going to be able to grow your business. So basically, point being, whatever got you to 0 to 100 is not going to get you from 100 to a million. Okay? You need to start thinking differently in terms of time vehicles, namely technology and people. And you need to spend more on ads. That's my 3 points. Let me see if I missed anything, but basically you kind of want to piece out parts of your day and take off hats, right? In the beginning, you're learning, and that's why mentorship is so important. You want to learn from people, you want to grow, you want to learn the ins and outs of your business, and then slowly take off your low value per hour activities and put them on to other people to help support you and give you leverage, so that you can focus on what's going to drive your business forward at the end of the day. So, all right, guys, that's all I got for today. Thanks so much for watching. If you haven't already, smash that subscribe button, hit the little bell if you want to get notified when I drop more content like this, and keep being awesome. I'll see you in the next one.